Hello there and welcome to Genesis Models. What we have here is our F5 work in progress. I'm just going to run through what I've done so far and then what I'm about to do next. Basically with most models we start off with the cockpit area, which we had a nice resin cockpit to work with here. It's actually really nicely detailed. I don't know how much you can actually see of that on camera, but we basically came along, we sprayed it, we then came in, we did some painting, bringing out panels, and we painted all our knobs and dials and all that kind of stuff, and we give it some nice weathering with Flurry Models concrete wash. I used my my own little made up wash here, which is just Indian ink, flow improver and water. And it is looking really nicely detailed. We also had our film, which had like nicely detailed dials on there, which we painted white on the back of the film to bring out the dials. Then we put the photo etch part on top of the film, and then we put that piece onto our cockpit instrument panel piece here, and you can't really see it on camera very well, but it is a really nicely detailed. I mean, you could literally come along with a magnifying glass and you would really, you know, be impressed by the detail of this resin cockpit we've got here. Surprisingly, with this cockpit, whenever I've done a cockpit, with a resin cockpit, I've always had to like sand the sides down to try and get it to fit in and everything. But for some, you know, strange reason, this one I've not even touched it with a sanding stick whatsoever. It is literally just slotted in, no problems, no issues, which is actually really nice, instead of what you usually get with resin cockpits. After doing that, I then took those surgical needle things, basically I had to cut them to size, with still trying to keep like the hollow part in there, because first of all, you know, I came along and I cut them with a pair of pliers here, and basically the metal wasn't strong enough and it bent the metal, so we didn't have our nice hollow tube going on. So I then come along and use a cutting disc, and we cut in a nice smooth cut, so that we got our needles to nicely have a nice barrel end rather than the needle end it had, to give us this nice illusion of some nice barrels coming out of the kit, rather than what was there before, which was nothing at all, and there was just nothing to represent these barrels, which is a bit of a downer on the kit. The other problem I had with this section was, here were like two doors. It's probably easier if I show you in the instructions. If you see here, we've got our left side of the fuselage section, and we've got two doors that we had to glue in. Now, it wouldn't have been so bad if the kits provided some actual internal detail, so that you had the option to open it up and show off a load of detail, but you don't get anything. So it was kind of annoying, because there's just no point in actually having these two doors with the kit. They may as well have just done it as all one piece, because that adds to the work you have to do with filling, sanding, rescribing, all that kind of stuff, to make this look as though the doors are all nicely closed, because they never really glue into position as a perfect fit. Other than that, I mean, it is looking all nice now. It has been all sanded, filled, scribed, all that kind of stuff, but a bit annoying that you don't get any internal detail with that. The resin nose, I mean, it took a bit of cutting, sanding, filling and all that kind of stuff. But if you take your time, you know, you do a lot of dry fitting, you do get there in the end, and it does look really nice now. The other thing to note on this section is we had our intakes here, which were the resin pieces. These resin pieces, although they're nicely detailed, they didn't fit whatsoever, to be honest with you. I'm going to put some pictures up of how bad the fit was, and then I had to like mask up all around it to protect the detail around it, fill it in with some white putty, and then I came along cellulose thinners on a cotton wool bud, and basically, you know, you wipe away the white stuff and then you end up with a nicely fitted intake then. In all honesty, if you do want to get the resin intake, I would suggest you just stick with the actual kit part, because the kit part actually isn't that badly detailed. I mean, the resin part is better detailed, but it's such a poor fit that I don't really think it condones the worth of going off and buying this particular resin piece. Other than that, it all fits nicely now, and it is looking quite good. Another thing you get with this kit, a piece of photo etch on our intakes here. Looks really nice, but doesn't fit. So we've had to cut just a bit off the top so that it actually fits. Wasn't a big issue, wasn't a big problem, just it didn't fit. It had to be cut back a bit. It all fits now, looks good, looks really nice. Nice added bit of extra photo etch there. Apart from that, I mean, I said in the review that this feels like a bit of a Hasegawa kit. It's got really nice detail and everything, and now that I've actually done some fitting, I must say it really does fit really impressive, like a Hasegawa kit. I mean, it is, in some places it's just absolute perfect in the way it fits. There's just no problems or gaps or anything. It just really fits really well. Very impressed there. I've just what else I've had to do as well, I've come along and I've done like my seam lines where we've had our joins and whatnot, which we've had underneath here and down here. Now with this kit there was so much detail, there's so much riveting going on that it is a bit daunting when we've got a seam line that we had to take care of down here, and there is a heap load of detail going on with rivets and recessed panel lines. So it is one of these things with this kit where you've just kind of like, you've got to grit your teeth, just, you know, you've got to sand this down to get rid of, to make your seam line seamless. But then you're gonna have to come along and you're gonna have to rescribe all this detail. You're gonna have to put back in like all these rivets, which there are just loads of them. So it's a bit of a tedious job putting all the rivets back in, but it is definitely well worth it in the end, because we've got some nice detail going on there. We're seamless all round, looking really good. We did that the same with this piece, and right now really the stage we're at is the main structure of the aircraft is all together, apart from putting these two halves together, and we've done all our filling, sanding, rescribing and stuff. All the hard work's basically out the way, apart from, as I say, putting these two pieces together, and that is basically most of the work done. I mean, all I've got to do now is basically come along and we've got to put in all our flaps and slats and all that kind of stuff, which they're not going to require any filling, sanding or rescribing, that kind of stuff. We've also got you know, we've got our fuel our exhaust cans, they're all done. I'm not going to put these onto the kit. I'm going to leave this to like the very last, basically after we've done all our weathering stuff and when we've sealed it in with the final matte coat, because I want to give this a nice natural metal finish. And if I stick this on now, after doing loads of gloss coats, of protective coats and the matte coat, we're just going to lose our natural metal finish with that. And really, as I say, just after the flaps and your slats, and it's just, you know, cutting off your landing gear, getting them all prepped up for spraying. You've got a fuel tank, some weapons, you know, hardly anything to do there. Now, we said there was going to be a problem with the whole canopy, the front canopy piece here, and basically the customer's sending me now a new front canopy bit, which is the way he wants it, so I haven't got to mess around with the kit canopy, getting that to kind of look like the proper F5 canopy. Only problem is with that, it's still on its way here, and this will be basically, you know, almost ready tomorrow, and without the front canopy part we can't crack on with the spraying. So I'm going to be putting a bit more work in this tomorrow, like what I've just kind of said with the slats and everything and the flaps, but then I'm going to have to put this down and wait for this front canopy to come, and then we're going to crack back on with this build as soon as the canopy arrives. Until then, I may as well crack on with our G91 Yankee for you to watch that on the forum as well. So at this point and at this stage, I can honestly say this is going together really nice. Virtually, I mean, it goes together like a Hasegawa. The details like a Hasegawa. Really, really nice kit, and it's coming along really nice. I hope you've enjoyed this bit of a work in progress video. I'll put up another one for you. I hope this has been really good for you. Until next time, goodbye.